I'm very excited for today's Builders Weekly podcast with your weekly AI nugget. In this podcast, we address AI and builder-related topics founders and startup leaders should be aware of. This episode, we deep dive into 1 to 2 news, followed by our take on what is hot this week. Today's nuggets, the context brain and the AI Act in Europe. This podcast would not be possible without our partners that made everything possible. So we want to thank the Delta. If you are a founder and looking for an ecosystem to build bold, stop by the campus in Neukölln, Berlin, or check out the webpage www.thedelta.io. Wynand, it's so good to be back, and this time a different location.
Different, yeah. I mean, look at this place. It's like suddenly we have we are 3 episodes in, and we've now upgraded to this amazing location.
Yeah, we moved 2 floors up, and it feels great. It's also sunny outside.
It's sunny outside. It's literally a corner glass office. So I feel we've made it now. So we are now officially podcast celebrities.
Yes.
Yeah.
After our 3rd episode,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
definitely call it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I was just coming out of a meeting, and we are in the middle of our endspurt for the Bad One conference in Berlin. 500 founders will be there. The
Jeez.
top 100 unicorn founders already confirmed that they will be coming. We will have VCs coming from all over the world.
It's going to be big.
And the top young founders we have invited under 25. So really excited.
It's going to be big.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. What's on your mind? What was happening?
When is the Bad One?
Oh, that's on June 12th. And there are
June
still some
12th.
last tickets.
Okay.
So if one of you is a founder and has created something big already, we'd love to have you there.
Yeah. I mean, don't miss that, right? Yeah. This week also, a lot of things happening this week. I think we had the previous webinar, and it was quite interesting what came up in the previous webinar, what's on everyone's minds. And that will also, which we will also discuss today in the podcast, is the whole idea of the context brain. Our webinar is going very well. We're having, by the time this gets published, it would be our Claude design webinar would have just been published as well. So if you missed that, check it out online. We normally upload it onto YouTube. So that's definitely, I think it's going to be a great one. But then the next webinar on the 3rd of June is going to be also quite good. It's going to be about LinkedIn and AI, which I think is very topical. A lot of people working in that space. And yeah.
So a lot about outreach, probably a lot about how do you reach your ICP and how do you create messaging that actually works.
Yeah.
And with less effort and less tooling, less descriptions.
And doesn't look like obvious robots.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I really love about the webinar format is that you go into detail, you show how you can actually use the tools, and that is super helpful. So also for me, getting to know Claude design a bit better, it definitely is a huge advantage. I will test that out in the next hackathon.
Yeah. And it was so great where after the last webinar about creating a multi-agent team, how many people actually reached out to me to say to me that was actually so helpful. Yeah. And that was amazing. So it's great to see that people are actually finding it very helpful. So
yes.
Great.
And I was meeting a friend the other day, and she was talking about she feels like she is left behind, and she has this FOMO, and she feels she can't go to an event, a builder event, because you need to come already set and already know what you're doing to not shame yourself. And I think webinars like this, and then in combination with the beginners hackathons, is very good for leaders who might be afraid to get started because they feel they're already so much behind.
Yeah, I think we should probably somewhere in the future plan a hackathon where we're like, please come to this hackathon and we will start with installing Claude.
Yes.
Literally like that's where we're going to start. I think that's like super relevant. I think we should definitely do that.
All right. But talking about the brain, because that was also a huge
yes.
topic at our founders dinner 2 weeks
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
And we were talking about why do we even need a context? Is that the same as feeding a file to Claude that then makes sense of it and then gives output? Is that the same? Do I need that? How do I start? So maybe very quickly, Wynand, what is it?
So I think one of the cool things that came up in the founder dinner was when someone was like, "Do I even need a brain?" And I was like, "Yes."
I started laughing.
Yeah. So yeah. So this also came up in the webinar when we talked about context graphs and things, where when you start having agentic teams, but not only that, where the whole idea of the second brain that we hear people talking about started with people online, especially LinkedIn shared a lot of things about how they're creating this second brain for themselves to just keep tabs of everything that's happening. And that basically the main thing is like it's a and when we talk about context graphs, just quickly, that is where AI can essentially make links between things. It can create patterns and links between things. And your second brain, that's basically what a human brain does, right? It creates links between things. So your second brain will essentially everything from your emails to your notes that you make to what was discussed in a meeting 6 months ago to maybe just a screenshot that you made somewhere that you found interesting, an article, conversations you've had, literally anything that you can feed it with, it will create this big map of context and it can jump between it. And I think that's where so previously what we had is like, I know that there was a lot of these services in the past, like a lot of people maybe use Notion or just Google Drive sometimes to save a lot of things. I know a lot of people like me in the past just use Apple Notes to just solve everything, and even to a point where some people just use their WhatsApp where they just talk to themselves and just create all this context. So a second brain is essentially taking all of this and be able to jump between this and make connections. So that is on a personal level.
Maybe let's zoom in here for a moment, because I feel that it is very abstract and people probably feel overwhelmed. There are a lot of founders out there that feel overwhelmed by this complexity of talking about the brain and the context and then the map of it. And it sounds something that's not easy to set up and sounds like something that I cannot do on my own. So maybe to demystify it a bit, can we break it down and say it's basically files and it's basically notes, it's basically documents that you just have in one place and then connect and link them to each other. And then the agents that you work with can then retrieve those information.
100%. So it can be different files and different formats and it can be different files of different formats in different places. But the beauty is that the AI and your agent can then jump between them. And that's basically what it is. Think of it as a collection of files and your AI agent can retrieve relevant information.
And that also means that you can decide whether to keep a knowledge piece or maybe delete it because it's not relevant anymore.
True.
So you create the rules for which agents, but then also at one point maybe information is not relevant anymore. So please don't look at it.
That is the point you just made is very, very relevant. Is stale context is worse than no context. So that's also like, and I think that's the beauty where AI makes it very relevant is that you can train your AI model to essentially, I always say, selectively forget certain things, like a decision that was made 2 months ago counts way more than a decision that was made 5 years ago or something. So that's also where you need to, like, the decisions that gets made and like, yeah, like you just said, create rules of what it uses and what it doesn't use.
Okay. And let's say I'm an operator, a founder, already rolled out or testing with maybe Claude for our organization. And now I hear this podcast and say, okay, I also need a brain. So where do I start?
So this is the first layer is where people started talking about second brains with regards to in your personal capacity. And then people started talking about company brains. And funnily enough, the concept of a company brain was one of the top 15 call for startups by Y Combinator. That was named as one of, I think it's number 3 or number 4. It's like ventures building in the company brain space. So I feel like every week now we're giving people ideas for new ventures. So this is this week's one, like building company brains, because I think one of the things that gets solved on an organizational level is that a lot of people have a lot of the company context sitting in their head. And then when they leave or they move to another department, all of that is lost. Something commonly referred to as corporate amnesia. And that is where, again, your company brain will create context between not only just files, but between people, conversations, meetings, what was discussed in meetings. And then it can create context, a context layer, not only of what people were discussing in certain places about projects, but also project documentation and all of that. So then, and again, so the beauty is that the AI or your AI model will be able to synthesize all of that. And that's where the beauty comes in. So you have creating of everything, of your infrastructure or your layer over here, you're creating everything. Then you want to retrieve things. That's also, but even creating and retrieving is quite basic. It feels like we're just storing files in different places and creating a Notion doc or something. But then the beauty comes into the synthesizing. And that is where the AI can pull things together, not only of files, but of people in an organization. Because in an organization, people and the things they discuss become context generators. So, so again, if I want to demystify that, AI will essentially be able to create context from what was said in meetings, what was decided by whom, and keep that context over time, and also know what to synthesize. A good example. If I want to know what is the risk appetite of a client that we worked with 3 years ago, suddenly AI will be able to tell me, listen, there were these meetings, there were these challenges, the documentation was like this, the client's accounts look like this and this, because it can talk to finance, it can see what was decided in the project, it can see what was maybe built. Let's say it was a software development. So you can suddenly synthesize everything that people said and even what happened in finance, accounting, all of those things. So it can really like create that bring together that big picture into one concrete summary, basically.
And who wouldn't love that? I'm just thinking of our clients, and who wouldn't love to have like a 360-degree picture of what has been said throughout channels and throughout different projects. So very relevant, I think, also for our operators. And that kind of brings me to the next question. I had a discussion at a dinner with the founder, and he was asking me, is it even worth setting up a brain now in a different external tool, because a Claude and OpenAI, they will naturally move into that direction as well, and then have it centrally in the same tool stack. So what is your take on that? Because there are different opinions around having it in one space versus having it external. And then what would you recommend?
Something that I'm a big proponent of being agnostic to the LLM provider. What I mean by that is we can see how quickly things move, and we can see how Anthropic is doing that, and then a month later they can change and do something else, or their costing can change. That's the thing that's very relevant now, is that we were all sitting with $20 pro accounts from Claude, and suddenly they can start charging for per API call. So
and we already saw that. No, Uber already exploded their budget within 4 months that it was planned for the whole year.
Exactly, right. And so for me, I am a very big proponent of not locking up your context and your data with a AI provider. I love the fact of separating the two and creating your, let's say, your data storage and your context separately from the AI provider, like Anthropic or OpenAI or ChatGPT and Claude, so that they can only feed your context and pull from your context to synthesize, but they don't own that data. That data doesn't live inside their systems. So that's why I'm a very big fan of being agnostic of Claude or OpenAI or DeepSeek or whoever. So
we also recently implemented it at a client, like an own knowledge base network, and it was very successful. And we're still tweaking it a bit, but we can already see how much better the output is across the organization because everyone has access to the same level of information, and that makes a huge difference in working in teams. Now, we were talking about data, and I think I want to zoom in about that because there are some changes in the AI Act of Europe.
yeah.
So what has changed? And I mean, for me, it's interesting to understand, is the AI Act really does it make Europe safer and better or just slower?
I think you should ask me in a year.
Yeah.
I think the AI Act is definitely going to change the way ventures interact with AI, especially in the European context. However, what I like seeing is how the authorities and the relevant bodies who are enforcing, or I don't know, enforcing is a strong word, but who are the custodians of this AI Act, they're actually very open to working with ventures and with innovation. So that I must commend them on. They have now launched this sandbox environment where ventures can register to be part of the sandbox. That's mainly for ventures who are in the high risk category. We will get to that in a second. But they are opening up this sandbox for high risk ventures or who are at high risk in the AI grading. And there you have direct access to working with regulators in a sandbox environment. And I think that's actually quite amazing. It doesn't seem like the regulators want to come in guns blazing and fining people and everything. So that is something that I just want to also address, is that you see this 35 million number that's now floating around, where everyone's talking about the 35 million fine that you can get. And I think that would be in really extreme cases, and also cases where people just totally didn't want to work with the regulators. And
now I think they even pushed back on some deadlines.
Yeah.
So one of the transparency deadlines they had end of August are now pushed back towards December. Then there are a couple of the risk system assessment and changes that follow. Based on that, they also pushed back a year or even two. So I think, as you said, it's more a collaborative approach. I think they are taking a lot of the voices very seriously. At the same time, there are things coming towards founders and operators that I'm not sure they're 100% aware of.
Yes.
Maybe can you outline a little bit what's happening there?
I think the two things that is mainly, I think, should be in everyone's radar now, who is working with anything AI related, is if you are in a high risk category currently, then high risk categories are any type of business, ventures, even institutions, even educational institutions, any entity that is using AI in the areas of credit scoring,
covering biometrics, critical infrastructure, education, employment, migration.
Yeah. AI hiring, I think, is going to be a big one, because I think a lot of people currently, a lot of companies is using AI to screen applicants. And that is definitely one of the high risk categories. So if you are in any form scanning or using AI to grade applications or job applications you get for company, that is definitely high risk. The same with educational institutions, where grade or scanning student applications with AI. So basically anywhere where AI judgment is used to grade or score anything regarding a human is high risk. You can assume that's high risk. So that goes, like you said, biometrics, Crime prevention is going to be one, especially with a lot of law enforcement now carrying on body cams on themselves. That's high risk. So yeah, if you're in any of those categories where humans are being graded and like even with AI, like I said, AI hiring, using it in hiring, definitely high risk. I would definitely apply for the sandbox with the regulators. They are very favorable to people who apply to be part of the sandbox environment.
Can you maybe explain a little bit the sandbox environment, what that really means and what you get access for?
So the sandbox environment, I've got it over here. The sandbox environment, and I'm going to give my best German pronunciation of this, is part of the Bundesnetzagentur.
Perfect.
Thank you. They actually have an AI service desk, which is super cool. And I must say, I was super impressed by everything that I'm just on their AI service desk now here. They tell you exactly what risk levels are. They tell you AI literacy. They even say what is prohibited. And there's a whole section called high risk AI systems. So there you can definitely check, are you in the high risk AI category? And I think that's the first one that ventures will have to look at, and entities, educational entities. And the second one that is also going to start in August this year is the one about transparency.
Oh yeah, that was the AI generated content.
Yes.
That needs now to be published, or it needs to be clear that this is AI generated.
Any AI generated content will have to be
disclosed
that this, even if someone lands on your website and they're chatting to customer support, it must be disclosed that that is AI bot chatting to someone. So for the lower risk ventures, that is one that should definitely be addressed. It's the first one to be addressed. And also, admittedly, I'm not sure about content that's created, written content, text that is created. I'm not sure how that's going to be handled yet. But I do see that Gemini is starting to create this sign on all the images of this is AI generated image. I think that is the two areas where I think the most effect's going to be. And
do you think we see much more LinkedIn posts from now onwards that say disclosed? I'm using AI to text.
I know you and I are on. I've seen you and I do on our LinkedIn when we create images. Like, because I'm of the opinion that when you do create an image with AI, just be open of the fact that I created this image with AI, and also I almost like what I do with mine is I create my images so out there that there's no one is hiding the fact that this is AI. So that's what I'm just doing on mine, where it's just be open that certain things are AI.
I'm also wondering what the impact really is for the businesses or for the startups that disclose it. Is it really something negatively perceived, or is it might be even something positively perceived by users and by customers because they feel like they can trust the content that's on there, or at least you're very upfront, open, transparent about it?
I like that. I like the fact of just say when it's AI generated. I think a lot of people are currently they're spending a lot of time and a lot of energy to make AI sound and look like humans. And I'm like, don't. Just accept it.
Yeah. Even keep like the dash in sometimes.
Yeah, the M dash. Yeah, just like, hey, just M dashes everywhere.
Just so they know.
Yeah.
What is hot this week? Wynand, what is
hot this week is, so we are having our webinar of LinkedIn and AI, which will be on the 3rd of June. And and also when this podcast gets released, it will be the Claude design would then be happening that same night. And if you can't make that, then definitely check it out on YouTube. But yeah, I think there's also a lot happening with you and a hackathon this weekend.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
We are working with Hello Theo together on a Applied AI hackathon. We have very cool tech partners. We have 11 labs. We're just discussing with Anthropic. They will be partnering, and Stripe. 3 tracks that are really exciting. And it's the full weekend of the 23rd and the 24th of May. So this weekend, I'm super excited. So 50 builders that are vetted and will come together and create new solutions.
I really would like to see someone create something cool with 11 labs.
Yeah.
It's one of those companies out there where I think they're really doing good things.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Absolutely. You will be there.
I will be there supporting for anyone who wants help.
Yeah.
I will be there.
And also very cool prices. So of course the tech partners are all sponsoring pro plans and additional credits and tokens. But then we also have like 5 tickets for the Bad One conference. With the top 500 VCs and founders, super exciting.
Hot commodity, those 5 tickets.
Yes, we're also still searching for volunteers on the day for the Bad One conference.
Bad One, okay.
Very cool. And then there's the Bad One hackathon happening on May 30th.
May 30th. Okay, so just give us quickly the 2 important dates for Bad One. May 30th is the hackathon. The Bad One conference
is the June 12th.
June 12th.
Hello Theo, May 23rd and 24th. And then this Friday, there's going to be the New Work Summit at the Delta. And I will be on stage as well.
There we go. And then on June 3rd, it's the webinar for LinkedIn and AI. So it's a packed calendar for anyone listening to this.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
So if you like this podcast, please follow us. Obviously, share it with your friends.
Yes, please share it with your friends.
And please let us know if you have feedback, because we would really love to understand what you want to hear.
Yeah, totally. Please give us feedback if you want me to talk less and Elisabeth more. Please tell us that as well. That's fine. We're super open to feedback from everyone.
Great. Thank you. And then closing inspirations. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them, from Albert Einstein.
I like that.